All right, it's cocktail time. Who's in for a drink? All right, I'm going to talk to you about cocktails. I usually talk to you about cocktails. And that's not the... this is what I want to discuss with you. First of all, I'm going to talk about the future of tea and cocktails. There is a huge future, a bright future for tea and cocktails. We've talked about it earlier as well, the importance of water. I'll be focusing on the importance of water for tea and cocktails. I'm going to show you how to use tea in cocktails. I'll get to that when I get there, and we're going to wrap it up with a surprising history. We'll start off with the future of tea and cocktails. It's not me, but this guy is still good as well. There's a very, very bright future for tea and cocktails. As a matter of fact, right now, the bags are being handed out on your tables. Unfortunately, it's not a gift. Too bad. It's a beautiful bag with all sorts of cocktail materials inside. With these bags, we're going to train a lot of bartenders, non-bartenders, everyone who is interested in creating tea cocktails. Actually, something really nice is going to happen in the next month in Holland. There's a place called the Bols Bartending Academy. Trains 3,700 bartenders per year in Holland. And soon, every single one of those bartenders will be taught the Dilmah way of tea and cocktails. So that's 3,700 bartenders per year just in Holland who are going to learn the Dilmah way of tea. Now, the fact that a big cocktail brand like that believes in tea as an ingredient, that's already a good sign. But there are more things. I mean, why tea and cocktails? All over the world, bartenders are discovering tea as a valuable ingredient for cocktails. In their search for quality products, tea is now being recognized as both a great source of inspiration and a very profitable way of bartending. Those two elements are very important. Tea as a source of inspiration. There are as many teas as there are tea gardens. In fact, there are even more. Every single region produces its own tea, and we also have the capacity to flavor the teas or to scent the teas, so that gives us a huge choice of teas to use in cocktails. Numerous matches with a great range of products. Soon, not today, but soon, I can tell you how many matches there are with tea, especially black tea. Green tea as well, but black tea has so many different products from all different categories, whether it's herbs, spices, meat, fish, whatever. You'll find out that there are so many matches with all these products. And last but not least, every good bartender needs a story to tell. Now, tea has a fantastic history. I mean, so much more than I thought when I began working with tea, but we'll get to that later. Using tea is a very profitable way of bartending. A higher margin on your cocktails. Simple math. 1 liter of fresh juice versus 1 liter of soda versus 1 liter of tea. There is, if you use tea in your cocktails instead of the sodas or instead of the freshly squeezed juices, you get a margin, an extra margin on your cocktails, somewhere in between 30 and 40%. Now, that's something that you can tell any bar owner or any bartender. Anyone who wants to make money should be at least sensitive to that statement. And less storage. I mean, imagine on a whole year you have you use 1,000 liters of fresh juice. That's at least this much. Or 1,000 liters of sodas. That goes the way up there. 1,000 liters of tea I can hold in my 2 hands. So again, less storage, more space for other things. And this, the non-argument not to use tea in cocktails. I've been talking to bar owners for the past years to convince them to brew, to make their own iced teas, to use tea as an ingredient, and they all say, tea takes too much time to prepare. That's rubbish. I'll tell you why. Have you ever seen an orange walk into a bar and squeeze itself? No. Or a lemon for that matter. If you have, please let me know. I'd like to order some of those. And the same thing with sodas. All these ready-made sodas, there's a lot of work in getting them into your bar, into your storage, into the fridge, and refilling them on a busy night. So it's a non-argument to say that tea takes too much time to prepare. The key to success. For a great tea-based cocktail, you obviously need a quality tea. Well, we know where to get it, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But equally important is knowing how to brew the tea and which water to use. Well, the answer to the first is obviously Dilmah, and the rest is understanding the importance of water. To brew a good tea, you need good water, but what is good water for brewing tea? Well, basically there are 3 kinds of water that we can drink. First of all, drinking water, mineral water, and spring water. Now, in your workbook, all these 3 types are defined, so you can read that. It's late, so we'll keep that story short. But what is important is that drinking water is usually unfit for brewing tea. This water is modified through the addition of chlorides, sulfates, phosphates, or other elements to make it fit for consumption. But all these elements have a bad influence on the taste and the aroma of the tea. So drinking water, out of the question. Mineral waters and spring waters. You should think that mineral waters are, it's often expensive water from famous wells or springs, but because they contain so much minerals, again, they have the same effect on the tea that most drinking water has. It basically, how do you say that? It holds back the aroma and holds back the palate as well. Oh. So, spring water is usually the best, but the most important criterion is the total of dissolved solids in the water. You have a bottle of Hilton water on your table. If you look at the back of the bottle, you'll find some product information on every bottle of water, whether it's been given to you for free or when you buy it. It must have this information. Now, if the total of dissolved parts, solids in the water, is in between 40 and 150, 160 parts per liter, there's a big chance you have good water for tea in your hand. So now you know what to look for in water. Then brewing, very important. Well, you've had, Dilhan has told you how to brew the perfect cup of tea. There are certain rules for brewing tea for cocktails. Obviously, it's very important to have consistency in your cocktail. If a guest comes into a bar or a restaurant, what he orders today should be the same as what he's going to order tomorrow. Now, that's why you should standardize your brewing times and your measurements. Again, correct measurements you can find in the workbook. And I've divided it in 3 different brews, like a light brew, a medium brew, or a strong brew. Now, the light brew you can use when you brew the tea fresh and then chill it. Because you just chill it, there's no extra dilution from adding ice later on, so a light brew will do fine. but a medium brew and a strong brew are basically meant for when you actually brew the tea fresh, and basically the hot tea goes into a cocktail shaker, add ice, shake it. Because of the temperature, some of the ice is going to dilute. That's why you use either a strong or a medium brew. We know about water now, so you think we're ready to shake the cocktail. No, not yet. How to use tea in cocktails? Shake it, stir, build it, throw it, but choose your way of tea first. Hot or cold? There aren't too many hot cocktails. Who was here 2 years ago? School of Tea. They've probably seen me do some stuff with fire. That's the blazer. A very, very old cocktail technique. Around 1880 in the US, everyone on a cold day wanted the blazer. But most cocktails are served cold. So if you choose to serve your cocktail cold, there are basically two options. Fresh brewed or pre-chilled. Now, fresh brewed means we use the hot tea and add ice, you shake it. That's the point where you need a strong brew. With the ice, dilution, so make sure when you use fresh brewed hot tea, strong brew. Pre-chilled, different story. You can use a medium brew or a light brew, because basically you prepare the tea during mise en place, and afterwards, when you need it, you just take it out of the fridge. It's strong enough by itself. So that's the difference between fresh brewed and pre-chilled. This is also interesting. Infusion or infused leaves. Personally, I really like this method, because what I've done, what you see there is a fine strainer. There's a strainer that's on top of the shaker tin, but in my right hand, that's a fine strainer. Now, on the left side of the cocktail glass, you see another glass. That's where I basically brewed the tea, and when I was finished brewing the tea, I put it in a fine strainer, I shake a cocktail, and I just strain it through the tea leaves. The best thing about this method is that while I'm serving my guests a cocktail, I can have a cup of tea myself. So that's one of my favorite ways. Now, we've seen three different methods. We got the tea, we got the water, we know how to brew it, we've got the technique. We're ready to shake. Now, has everybody unpacked the shaker bag? Because what we're going to do, what you're going to do, is shake the cocktail. Because I feel a bit lazy today, I'm not going to do a lot myself. So I want, on every table, at least one cocktail shaker, and I suggest Mr. Fernando is at least going to shake a cocktail for us. And, well, pick your shaker. So I want your shaker to stand up. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to show you the diversity of tea. Everyone on the table has a plunger. You all have the same tea. You all have the same ingredients in front of you, except for one thing. That's the bottle of liqueur. And we're going to combine the same tea with all with a different flavor. So first, we brew the tea. The water is coming. Don't do anything yet, because we're going to do a dry shake. I'm going to train you quickly how to hold a cocktail shaker. There are many different styles of shaking. This is called a Boston glass, and this is called a Boston tin. You prepare your drink in a glass, you shake it with the tin on top. But first, the glass. Now, the trick with a good shake is you have the glass like this, you put the tin on top, so this is in one direct line, and you just tap it on the top, and if you do this, it shouldn't fall. How is that working for everyone? It has to be straight, right? All right, now a practice shake. There are many ways to shake. You always shake with the glass towards you. So, yeah, now tap it on the top. Yeah, good. This is the most common one. You gotta have a good position because shaking is a powerful thing. So make sure you stand firm and you start shaking like this. Always make sure your face is clear because you want to look at your friends, your guests, or whoever. And we're shaking. Come on, yes, I see a couple of tables who aren't shaking. Come on. Table number 10 is not shaken, yes. Table number 3 is not shaken. Come on, stand up. I want all the shakers to stand up and shake. Hey, come on, get up, table number 7, shake. All right, good. All right, you can also shake like this. You're going up. Now, everybody will have to develop their own shake. I like the train. I'll demonstrate the train later, but that means that you're going to start slow, a little faster until you get the top speed, and you're already reached your destination. But I'll show you that later. Now, the next trick is to disconnect the two, the Boston glass and the Boston shaker. Just pull really hard. Okay, I'll tell you now that's not the way to do it, but you'll find out later. So, the tea must be almost ready. I mean, it should have been a 3 or 4 minute brew right by now. So, what I want you to do is push down the plunger. Now, you've got another thing on your table, and that's called a measure. A jigger, this thing. One of the most important things to always have a good cocktail is to have strict measurements. Not just always the same measurements for the tea you use for your tea, but always stick to the recipe. Now, tea is hot, so make sure you don't hold it here. You'll burn your fingers. On the bottom, and I want you to fill the larger side of the tin to the top. Disconnect the shaker first. I want you to put it in the glass. So this is about 50 ml. So put 50 ml of tea in the glass. I'll quickly do the same thing. You just fill it like this. In the glass. And then I want you to put an extra 20 ml. You can see the scale inside. So there's a 70 ml of tea in the glass. That's about this. Next is the liqueur. Everyone has got his own bottle. Now I want you to put about 30 ml of the liqueur inside. Everyone has got a different flavor. So after this, after we shake the cocktail, we're going to fine tune it. But everyone, 30 ml of the liqueur. Next step, on the small plate, you have some sugar syrup and some lime juice. Every cocktail needs sweet and sour. Now, obviously the sour part is the lime juice and the sweet part is a sugar syrup. We're going to start off with putting 10 ml of both in the glass. Afterwards, we're all going to check if it's good. Does every table have straws as well? No? Can someone take care that every table gets a few straws? Because, I mean, that is the best thing about bartending. You taste every drink before you serve it. So you can imagine if you have, on a busy night when you serve about 250 cocktails, it's a fun night. So we've got the tea, we've got the liqueur, we've added the sugar and the lime. There's always 4 elements, at least 4 elements into a cocktail. Something sweet, something sour, something weak, and something strong. Next step is ice. Fill the cocktail shaker at least for 3/4 with ice cubes. So when you're satisfied with your drink, you can basically pour it straight away. If you're not, add a little lime juice or add a little sugar syrup and balance it out just the way you like it. Remember, the one that's holding the tin decides whether it's good or not. Next thing is you have this thing called a strainer. A strainer keeps the ice in and lets the drink out. You put the strainer on top, put one finger on top of the strainer, and you pour it like this. Now, make sure that everyone can make a good photo of you pouring the drink. I think this moment calls for a toast as well. I hope this is going to be the beginning of many more tea mixologists. If everyone can hold up their drink just for a second and let the camera do its work. So this toast is to the Fernando family. What started out with a vision of one man has filled the room with 180 tea fanatics right now. So this is to the Fernandos. So I want to share something else with you, because I started out with the future of tea and cocktails. But there's more than a future, because you can only have a future if you've had a rich past. Now, can I get the slides back on, please? A surprising history. The world's first and most famous celebrity bartender, Jerry the Professor Thomas, spoke about the use of tea in cocktails in the early 1900s. That's over 100 years of tea cocktail history. Now, I thought that was basically the beginning of tea in mixed drinks. But the mother of all cocktails is the punch. Records of the punch have been found dating back to the 17th century. And guess what? Punch à la région. This is the original formula found by cocktail historian David Wondrich from 1756. And as you go through all the ingredients, at 2/3 after 1 wine glass of maraschino, you can see how old it is. It has very strange measures. I've never heard of a gill, or half a gill for that matter. But pour 1 quart of boiling water over 2 teaspoons of green tea. I found another punch recipe from 1812 with black tea. And turns out there are quite a few recipes going back like over 200 years ago. Now, with a history like this, you have a fantastic future. Thank you.